Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm going to just go into a bit of more Captain Obvious things, but I figure if I just keep telling the same thing from the same angle, as many different ways as possible, then hopefully people will start to get it, or even if I just say it enough times, hopefully it'll get into the collective through the 100th monkey effect, whereas a lot of this is Captain Obvious to me, and some people have never even looked at it this way. So let's get into things. So, a lot of this prison, we are in a prison. We have got, we are in an obvious prison, but many people are blind to it. How did we get into this prison? Well, a lot of it was through this original grift. The original grift was a person came down from home. Actually, lots of people have come from home. And they basically said we should all have free will. It is a free will universe. Listen to your heart, because that's where your information comes from, is from the ether. When you're listening to your heart and your conscience instead of your ego, what happens is we learn a bunch of stuff down here, and then our avatar dies, but we come home. So we come home, and now we have all the knowledge of everyone who's ever died. That's what happens when you come home. So all of this knowledge for millions of years that we've been on this existence, all is collected here into the ether, or heaven, or home, whatever you want to call it. So when we run the world on inspiration instead of on duress, that's what's going to happen, is we are going to go back to living in paradise. Because we should be all living on a minimum 10 acre per individual. Even if you're married, that should be your 10 acres, or your 10 acres and your husband's 10 acres. When your child's old enough, theirs and theirs, basically. So we should be living this way. Because as I've said, then we have our privacy and sound barrier and all of these things. So it looks great. So why aren't we living like that anymore? Well, it's pretty obvious. It started with, it didn't just start with this. This is the biggest problem, yes. But all of these people are called committees. So this little committee has formed itself. And so they think of themselves as their own little, their own little, they're their own little king. That's how they see themselves. This little group of busybodies have joined together and made themselves into a king. Well, what is that really? It's the same as this clown over here. This clown is not really a king. This clown just made people believe he was through grifting and razzle-dazzle and fake stories, but mostly through duress. Because he gets people under duress to do all his dirty work for him. And go after innocent people to the extent that now everyone has Stockholm syndrome. So, how did these little committees get started? Well, you have someone like this who, instead of, looking at her own yard and what she can do and working on her own ego, these are all ego problems. Instead of putting her ego in check, she is obsessed with her neighbor. Her neighbor's literally doing nothing wrong at all. She's gardening, she's playing in the garden, but she's complaining about the dandelions. I've made a video about this already. Complaining about the blossoms. So she gets together, forms a committee with a bunch of other busybodies, and they have now declared themselves to be a king over something. They're all sitting there plotting and planning against their neighbors and plotting and planning against each other half the time. All because they need to, again, work on their own ego. Instead of looking at their ego as the problem, they are going and ruining everything for everyone else. So, these little committees form. They take the innocent gardener lady and they put her in this position where she has to either pay up or be in jail. All because of this stupid little committee. And stupid clowns like this that put people under duress as well. Because the committee is doing the same thing as the clown. The committee is putting her under duress. The committee is putting, say we have a judge with integrity. They'd put him under duress. Screw his life around somehow. So then they get a judge with no integrity. And they end up ruining her life. And this keeps happening and happening and happening, and took us out of paradise, like this living situation. Because with our 10 acres each, that would be fine. But all these committees start complaining and complaining, and the next thing you know, instead of 10 acres, everyone's on these quarter-acre lots, so close together, because the committees ruined it for everyone. This should be my house and my greenhouse, but instead I'm in this tiny. I'm even worse. I've been screwed over into now I'm in a tiny little trailer because they raised my property taxes, so I lost my big house. Well, I sold it, but I'd actually sold it for $300,000 less than I should have because of these busybody type of people were preventing me from selling my home when I could have sold it at $600,000. They sabotaged it to the point where I ended up selling it for about $4 something. And then the house that I had wanted to buy, when it was at, and this is not just me, I'm just using a case scenario that applies to many, many people. So I was wanting to buy this house for $240,000. And then I instead of selling mine for $600,000 like I wanted to, the busybodies prevented it and prevented it and prevented it until I only sold it for, say, like $470,000. You're thinking, well, that's not too bad. Well, it is too bad because it was a year and a half later of going through their bullshit. And now, all of a sudden, this house, same house, no improvements. In fact, it's degraded because it's been a year and a half or 2 years. Now it's, oh, It's 800,000. Oh, isn't that wonderful? So now I couldn't even afford to buy this little house, which would have been cheaper. I would have had a profit of 400,000 that I could have used for all kinds of fixing it up and all kinds of things. But this is what these committees do. Committees and councils. These people have absolutely no right to any of their bullshit. What they're in essence doing is they're taking something that is very immoral. If this person just went and stole this person's house, they'd be in jail and they'd be put away, locked away. And stealing is stealing. We all know that it's wrong and immoral, right? It's wrong and immoral. So, but if little Miss Busybody goes over here and gets a bunch of friends to help gang up, apparently all of a sudden it's not immoral anymore? Well, that's what they've tricked themselves into thinking. But just because you have more people that are doing the wrong thing doesn't all of a sudden make it the right thing. It's still just as immoral. It's in fact disgusting because she went and got all these other people to commit theft with her. So now not only is she going to stay stuck in this prison planet, when she reincarnates, she will have to go to the basically the same thing she created. So they are going to be reincarnating on old Earth or this system until they learn to stop doing this bullshit. But this girl here is like, you guys are wrong, man. I'm out of here. Get me out of here. So she's gonna stop listening to them, and she's leaving their committee because she's seeing through the bullshit. She's woken up. And this person's still an ego, this person's still an ego. This person is starting to put her ego together. She's fixing her ego. So this person's still an ego. This person is starting to actually listen to her and fixing her ego. This person has been hanging out with her so much, her ego's fixed. So what's going to happen? Oh, well, only these three are going to commit theft. So, wow. Only 3 people are going to commit theft now. So these 4 are out. I wonder what would happen if this person started talking to this person more. And instead of being little devil, she starts fixing her ego. Then there's only 2 people left trying to commit theft. Well, it looks a lot more like theft again when there's only 2 people. And then this person, out of virtue signaling or something, she's like, you know what, I'm out too. So now this person can no longer commit theft. She just looks like the idiot she is. It's like, hey man, you were just trying to get us to help you commit theft. And then what happens? Instead of making themselves into a duress person, this whole group, except for the busybody, have all woken up through the 100th monkey effect. They are like, woo, we're rocking it. And now she's gotta go. Sorry, you're not incarnating here anymore. She will have to stay in prison land. So, right now, we are still in prison land because of these situations with these busybody committees. They have taken us from, 10 acres. Boy, that would seem like you were a poor person before. Like, 10 acres is nothing. But now it would seem like paradise to each have 10 acres. Now it'd be like, wow, 10 acres. And it actually would, because it's actually good to be close to each other and be able to party, like I said before. If this is each 10 acres each, and we have a little party section in the middle, and then there'll be party here, party there, and probably do like a big party section in the very middle for bigger parties. But anyways, this is the past and future, basically. So people like this, stealing and complaining with their little committees, have ruined this. They have enabled the clown show, who took everyone's land. So look at the difference here. One clown has all this land. Why? Because these little committees and these little courtrooms and all this have enabled this through all their little virtue signaling and all that stuff. How did they do it? They did it through duress and virtue signaling and religion. That's how they did it. Everyone believed the agendas that were injected into the Bible. Even me, I used to believe it, and then I had to learn Hebrew. And once I learned my Hebrew, I was quite appalled and realized, okay, the only things that are right are the ones written in your heart. So when we'd read something that Jesus wrote, for example, we would know it was true. So we're like, yay, I'm on board. But then you read something that contradicts what Jesus said, and you're supposed to brainwash yourself or listen to some preacher guy who calls himself Father. When it says right in the Bible, don't call anyone Father. So instead, you listen to someone who calls himself Father, and let him talk you out of the contradictions. So you go into cognitive dissonance and believe the contradictions that keep you in this clown world. So, yeah. I hope I'm making some sense, but yeah, basically what we have to do is be like these people and stop listening to her. Stop listening to him and stop listening to people that promote outside influences and duress. We need to take these little devil horns, and instead of being a little devil with your broken halo, you need to start fixing your ego. Repair that so that everyone has integrity. It's not that hard. You just gotta stop listening to the duress. Fix the ego? Believe me, we've all had an ego. Most of us are born with an ego. Take that ego and fix it. And then what happens? Then we don't need any of this crap anymore. And we won't have to end up living like this. Because this is where they're pushing you right now. The clown agenda wants everyone stuck in here. It's like absolutely ridiculous. It's loud, it's smelly, it's busy, it's unhealthy. People should not have to live this way. But this is where they want you. They want you all squished in here. It's like 10, do you want 10 acres like this? No. Of course not. Do you even want to be in like a tiny little quarter of an acre like this? No. Do you even want to be in like an acre? No. It's still too close to each other. So if we could go to a 10-acre minimum, just to start while we wean ourselves from the codependency going on, because this acre thing doesn't work either. They can hear all their stuff, they can hear all their stuff, they can hear all their stuff, everyone's mad. Not fair. If I'm here and you're way the hell over here, we're not going to hear each other, but we sure as hell are going to miss each other. So once a week or whatever, we will feel like hanging out. We'll feel like party, 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 woohoo! Let's hang out, because we'll get our peace and quiet. We'll be working on our own stuff. Don't need to go to slave job. Our jobs should be helping each other with our gardens out of our own free will and not being trapped by this imaginary thing. We should all just be asking each other for help and help out of our own free will. And then if that person doesn't help you back, you feel kind of used, then just don't hang out with that person anymore. It's not that hard, because 90% of the jobs, slave jobs and everything, are just paperwork and this kind of bullshit that enables this kind of bullshit to go around. So it's just keeping the duress systems in place. So if anyone gets free, like this person, then basically what they do is they gotta keep everyone in this little system here. She starts getting free, then these guys gotta freaking be a-holes about it. So all of their paperwork, 90% of the jobs are just ways to keep people in line. Like, for example, the hydro bill. If you didn't have to pay all these people to act like this and to harass people to make sure that they use those systems and pay them and put them in jail when they don't, well, your hydro, okay, let's say we pay $5 million a month just to have these little committees, busybody committees, keep the pressure and duress on you. If you didn't have that, then maybe $5 a month for the actual power. Because that $5 a month is going to pay, say, 1,000 people in your area or whatever to fix the poles and all that other stuff. But I'll get into it again about the free energy and why we should be allowed to use it. So, just opening minds, because I keep thinking I'm Captain Obvious, but again, it seems a lot of people don't look at things this way. But yeah. So, everybody thinks it's okay to just live like this. On this is the little 10-acre city. Well, this guy has like 5 million acres all to himself. How is that? How are you guys accepting this? It's just gotta stop. So, yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope I was making some sense. I keep thinking I'm Captain Obvious, but maybe I'm not as Captain Obvious as I thought. So, thanks again for watching. I hope you like my video. If you do like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Love from Melissa Mouse, also known as Lala.